Yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Does that stuff happen to you, Chris? The stuff that I've had happen when I cut acrylic, and you're not supposed to, but I clean mine with denatured alcohol. Now I've cleaned extruded with that, and it crazes really bad. The cast I've been cleaning with denatured alcohol for 4 years, and I've never had any crazing whatsoever. Of course, I don't make a lot of things. I might mess with acrylic 5 times in 2 months or something.
Okay.
When you said Chris, you mean Loco, or is he not here?
I'm
Yeah.
not sure if he's on here yet.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, the acrylic that I've been typically doing is the two-color stuff. So, I mean, it has dust, but a Mr.
Yeah.
Clean sponge and a little bit of water goes a long ways.
Yeah. Now, I get that you maybe shouldn't have to clean that up, and if you're talking about how to mitigate that, then that's going to be in the air assist, in the settings, and focus. Probably all of that stuff has some sort of factor.
Okay, what did I miss? Because I was like had the phone call going on and this at the same time.
Talking about cutting acrylic and getting that residue, around the cut that's
Oh, that
almost
white
baked,
stuff.
that's almost
Yeah.
baked back in. Like
A lot of times, what little bit of experience I have from that is just getting it up off the damn honeycomb.
Yeah, well, this is on the top side too.
Oh.
I mean, the stuff that I've seen, it can blow back and get on the top side. Is that what you're seeing too, Sam?
Yeah, that's the other question, I guess. One, the cut is perfect. It's just the engrave. But my question is, do you take the coating off, or do you engrave through the coating?
You talk about the masking, which is typically craft paper,
Yeah, but it sticks on there.
Right.
So far I've been lazing through it.
Yeah, that's probably not good. Now, if I'm going to engrave, if I'm just cutting it, I'll leave the paper on the both sides. If I'm going to engrave, I usually engrave on the back anyway. So I'll peel the tape off the back side and do a mirror image. That way, the front of the acrylic can sit on the honeycomb and it'll be protected by that.
There's Loco. Hell no.
Mask on the other side. It's typically how that works. So if you're engraving through that stuff, I've found that you get carbon deposits because the paper's burning, the adhesives get in there and make things gooey. And so I prefer to pull that off before I engrave. And then typically if you're engraving okay, if you're not using too much power and all your stuff is right, it will be like chalk dust and most of it will just blow away. It won't stick. I've seen also running too much power where it'll flash back, and cause that too. But that would typically be on the bottom side. So, Chris, Loco, yeah, we're calling you Loco. We're talking about cutting acrylic. So, anyway, let me do the thing. Let me stick to the thing. So, I had in here today listed air assist. I don't even like that topic. We could talk about air assist. I want to have something a little better. I want to get somebody with a bunch of compressors or that's had the different ones and talk about the differences. I'd love to have a whole stack of them and let somebody just put them head to head. I don't have any room for compressors. But we can talk about that. Let me turn the screen sharing back off. So what are we supposed to do? Welcome and intros. Is everybody here? Everybody here looks like they're been here before. Old. Well, not old. I guess I'm old. I'm over 50. Am I? Am I 50? Or am I 51? I don't know.
What year was you born?
I was October 1971. So
yeah, you're just barely over 50. Yeah, my wife turns 50 and my wife turns 50 in September.
Yeah. So let's talk about acrylic again. Let's just keep going. We were talking about cutting acrylic and you get that residual stuff on the edges of it. And sometimes it's like it's baked on and it's hard to get off. I usually use denatured alcohol, even though they say not to use alcohol on acrylics. I've only ever seen it extruded. I've never had it craze on cast. But I've seen people talk about, and the first time I saw it, I was like, are you sure you're not talking about glass? But some people do the Dawn trick, to mitigate too much heat when you're doing glass. Some people coat it with Dawn. I'm not sure exactly what that does, but it has to do with maybe evening out the temp a little bit, eliminating hot spots. I'm not sure. But they're doing that on acrylic, and then you just wipe that off, and it like makes a coating, to protect it so that stuff doesn't stick to it. And you can just wipe it off. So that might be one thing also. Jason's on here. So does that help, Sam? I mean, if it's just the residue that's the issue, I mean, I wonder if something like silicone spray would work. You know, they use that as a release agent on food and conveyor belts and all kinds of stuff.
You
I wonder
don't
if
want
you
to spray
shot the.
silicone anything in a wood shop. If you've got anything wood related, you do not want to be spraying silicone. Airborne. Your finish will not hold on anything.
Oh, if it gets on something, then you got to stain it.
Yeah,
Is that what you
silicone
mean?
paint. Yeah, paint wise, anything that's or varnishes or anything will not stick to wood if you've got anything silicone based in the air. It will
Anything that
haunt
says
you.
clean all grease and contaminants off before putting on whatever you're going to put on, that'll mess all that up, make it have a bad day. Yeah.
Silicone is just like it's
Well,
like a big time no in my shop.
I tell you what, we carry it. WD-40 is a no-no in the tool bag usually for the copier guys, but we carry this silicone fuser oil. It's 100% silicone oil, and you could rub that on a doorknob, and we'd clean that. We'd slick the platinum glasses up with it so that the paper wouldn't stick. Those ones that actually fed the paper through. But that's some nasty stuff. You put it on a doorknob, you can polish a doorknob with that thing, and you will not open that door. No, you will not open that door. It's insane. But
Yeah, if you ever want to
I
screw
mean,
with somebody in a wood shop or a finish shop, just put a little bit of silicone on your finger, just walk through their shop and just touch everything wood.
huh?
You can't get it out. It'll leave marks everywhere.
Yeah, that's crazy. But let me see. I haven't been checking the comments. There's a thing. Okay, Sam. Uh, okay, yeah, and we can, talk about it more if that doesn't help. I haven't ever had to put anything on my ply. And then the other part, Chris, you probably heard that part about leaving the masking on the craft paper. And I told him I usually pull mine off because I'm engraving on the back, and I'll just leave the front on, to protect it. Because I don't like burning through that craft paper.
No, de-weeding that stuff is a pain. And denatured alcohol, 100%. That I do a lot of acrylic, and that's what I use all the time is denatured alcohol. Just don't
And I
use
haven't
anything.
tried isopropyl. I haven't tried ISO, but that shouldn't be much different. They're both. I mean, I don't know. I
So
have had acrylic craze, and I've seen videos where they'll take alcohol and pour a little bit on, and man, it's like you took a hammer to it. So I know it's a thing, but and I haven't outputted a million items that are made of acrylic either, or maybe I've seen it. I've done 10, so my scope is limited. But
So have you used basically your denatured on cast and extruded with the zero issues?
I haven't used it. Oh, you asking Chris? Yeah.
Whoever. Cast, yes, no issues. Extruded, I don't do it because it doesn't engrave well.
Yeah, I just didn't know, even just cleaning up the edges on extruded. If you get the white hazing back in there.
That stuff yellows so badly, I won't touch it.
Yeah, I bet Travis has some input on that.
Yeah, it's a miracle he showed up at this point in time.
We're going to be talking about air assistant a little bit, Travis. That's our topic for today. But we're talking about acrylics, cutting it, the stuff that's left behind, the residue. Sometimes it's like it's baked on. And whether you engrave through the craft paper or backing or whatnot, and all those good things. I think where we were at was using alcohol. Chris and I use alcohol on denatured on cast, and always have, and never had any trouble. Not sure about extruded because we don't really keep any around. Have you had any crazing from anything like that? Using any polar solvents on your acrylics?
All the time.
Finding on some and not on others, or what?
Extruded both. So honestly, the best thing for getting rid of any type of discoloration or smoke residue is was it Nova number 2.
Oh yeah, I've seen that polish.
Yep.
I've seen that
That's the best
acrylic
stuff.
polish. Yeah. Okay. So
And a little bit goes a long way. We only go, and we do quite a bit of acrylic, and we only go through one bottle maybe once a year.
do you have problems with residue when you're cutting your acrylic?
Not usually. We use keep the craft paper on it, and if it doesn't have craft paper on it, because sometimes they still will come with like only one side coated or something, we'll grab a roll of masking, and we usually mask it
Even for engrave, or are you talking just cutting?
just for cutting. Engraving, what I'll usually do for engraving is just super, super, super light air. Make sure you have that engraving tip on there, so you're barely putting a whisper of air down on the actual material. And then we'll engrave it out from there and then hit it with Nova.
Cool. Awesome. So see, we did incorporate air assist into that. You were talking about using the air. So the one thing I will note about that that 6 mm orifice on that wide tip nozzle for the acrylic, that the diameter of that orifice is larger than the inside diameter of the tubing that's supplying the air. So what I mean is it's going to be difficult to maintain positive pressure inside that nozzle unless you put the, you know what I mean? That nozzle almost acts as a diffuser anyway, whereas that 2 mm one is, points it right down in there. So when he says little air, always it is little air, but you're walking a fine line between not having enough air and having too much. There's not a lot of give on acrylic.
Yeah, we're usually running between, with the wide angle one on acrylic, we're running between 3 to 5 pounds of air.
Yeah.
So,
And the other thing is if you're you're cutting that right, if your settings right, it is a dust. It's more like powder, and it's just going to settle. If you don't blow it around all over the place, it'll just settle and sit where it is, and then you just dust it off. So.
Yeah, I
Cool.
need more practice with acrylic.
I like the medium. I feel like it's more uniform. The density and composition are more uniform. I know it does vary from lot to lot and manufacturer to manufacturer, like everything else, but it's a whole lot more close than ply from two different shops or something like that. So, are we doing? Let's see. Are we doing any kind of time thing? What? We're at the 15-minute mark.
Or
So
4:13. Yeah, we got 2 more
yeah.
minutes.
So this is newcomer questions and comments. We help start that a little early. Sam's showing us some examples here.
Oh, he's going to start
Cool.
tattooing. Interesting. I want to watch.
Maybe you can do a powder coat in a laser.
No. He's going to start tattooing his arms with the laser. I want to watch.
That's what. Yeah. Well, yeah, but see, they're doing that with the powder coat. They're paint filling with powder coat and lasing it in
on your skin.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's the next.
That would be interesting to
next
watch.
logical step, isn't it? To see if that process will work on skin.
And
try it on leather first.
And those people in California are always, the innovators. Let's see it done, Sam.
All right.
He can't talk.
Chris has left the building. Jason, how you doing, man? Roto Boss. He's got his mic on.
Not too bad. How about you?
There you go. Oh, shoot. Hanging in there, man. I just got a big old order of parts in a little while ago or this morning, so I'm trying to get all that stuff unboxed. And it was one of those crazy crates, Chris. It was real skinny and real tall.
Oh, nice.
One of those. And what they've done is they used the chiller boxes because they have a bunch of them. And they put the parts in the chiller boxes.
Oh, nice.
Stack the chiller boxes in there. So you just take it out a section at a time.
The battery and my.
But it's still a pain in the butt.
On at the primary.
So anyway, there is a ticket, Jason. I'm just going to get all kinds of off the subject. Somebody might be getting with you about a 5-pin Rotoboss for a Mars 90. Somebody, we've got a circa 2014 Mars 90, and the guy wants to add rotary. It's got all the fixtures.
Yep.
You know, it's got the place in the rail. We just have to wire it. You know, get him to wire it, send him the right connectors. But it'll be a standard 5-pin. But he'll be asking for a 5-pin if he said he was going to get in contact with you. But
Yeah,
the
he got in contact with me, but I had him get a hold of you guys to order.
okay, yeah. So it'll just be a plain old 5-pin, just you know, like the ones that
Yeah,
had the
but he
switch
don't
on them. Because
he don't have the switch or the connector on his machine though, so he's got to wire it all himself apparently.
no, he doesn't. Well, yeah, but he'll have it on there. We're going to make a plug and play kit for him, and he'll have that hooked up. And then all you'll have to do is worry about the rotary. Just do it the way you always do, and we'll handle the rest. We'll get him the rest of the stuff.
So you're getting them the standard 5-pin receptacle then.
I asked China to spec the same one that was in those Novas that were that used the Y-axis. Yes, it's going to be as identical to that. Is the way the pinouts and everything are going to be. That's why I wanted to mention that.
I was looking at just getting them a complete different 5-pin and give them both ends to put in the machine.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Well, we're going to do it exactly like the other ones. Yeah, that way a year or 2 years down the road, and he shows back up with the rotary, and we have him, you know, doing pinouts. We don't know that Mars 90 didn't come with it, and then we're chasing our tails. So I'd rather make it just like the ones that are out there in production. So.
Good point.
Awesome. I just want to let you know that part.
Yeah, I got the plugs and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. What's cool about that machine is it's still running. I mean, it's still a production machine to the point where he wants to add, you know, a $1,200 rotary to it or whatever. That's cool because, you know, hearing about those machines, it's been sitting over there running we've never had a ticket on it up until now, and it's still not a trouble ticket. It's just wanting a capability that it didn't have. I just think that's cool. So that's quite a long time on a laser. So anyway, what else you got going on? Anything good?
Yeah, what's coming, Jason?
Yeah, he keeps making these erroneous posts on Facebook trying to get people's attention.
Yeah, oh yeah, tell us what's up. What are you hiding over there in Area 51?
I can't say anything just yet, but it'll be. I would say it'll be a game changer.
You're pulling a grant, dude.
So if we don't record this, you could say it.
No. I don't know who to trust right now. No.
Oh, wait a minute. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the normal people in your Sam. Nobody trusts him anyways. So you can't trust us.
Well, see, the way that's going to have to work is, Jason can tell, let's see, me and the Chris's, because we all have mutual non-disclosure agreements between one another. So, and organization wide. So we'll just talk about it. And then next week, we'll all get on here and tell Travis and Jim and everyone that we know what it is, but we still can't tell you.
You could tell me, and even if I did say it, nobody would believe me anyways, because nobody believes nothing that comes out of my mouth. So it wouldn't matter if you told me or not.
He's using reverse psychology. So anyway,
is it working?
You guys already know what's coming, so. But.
Yeah. So we'll just keep watching.
No, I think people will like it.
All right, it'll be good, man. So let me get to the crux of what we do. Does anybody have any questions? Any laser questions? Comments?
I got an Odin 32 coming.
Do you really?
Yeah,
it's got the 55 watt coherent in it, I think, is what they're sending out. Did you get that one?
Yeah, it's the upgraded or updated version, yeah.
Okay, so you ought to be able to get that recharged in the US too. So, and for those with Odins, I do have, or Odin 32s, you'll have to do some napkin math to get it down to the 30 watt ones. I have a partial materials library that China sent me. It's not put together yet. It's just an Excel spreadsheet still. So I got to translate it and make it better. But we'll get that out and put it on the site at some point soon. So.
And we can add to that as I test the 55.
Yeah. You know what I'd really like to do is create a spreadsheet where you have the materials going this way, and then the machine, have a tab for each machine, or have a one for each wattage under each genre, and it'll be like a central repository, and we can go in and change it in real time, and make a real living. You don't want too many cooks in there stirring it, is the thing. But I mean, if we had like 3 people feeding that thing data, I think we could get a real comprehensive library. I still think it'd be cool beyond using Dropbox and having a physical folder sync on your computer, to have Lightburn be able to access a URL of an XML sheet or CSV sheet or whatever it is, to house a unified library for Thunder. I know that doesn't work for everybody, because some of the brands, they don't all have the same power supply. Some of them aren't calibrated. Well, I'd say most of them aren't. So 3% on one machine may be 7 or 8 or 10 or 12% on another machine. So you really can't have an intelligent discussion about it, but we can. So I think it'd be neat to have a central repository that you can pull from.
Hey, Loco.
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean it. I thought Brian was done.
I am.
How do you like that new toy? You got a chance to play with it yet?
Oh, still not. Still haven't. I need to bring it out to the garage. It's still sitting in the house.
It's not a good place for it.
But I could definitely show them.
No, it's all good.
What's he got?
He's got the Auto Boss to play around with.
Oh, okay. While we're talking about rotaries and waiting on him, I have had. Oh, here it comes.
It's a monstrosity for sure.
Well, gee, thanks.
This is huge.
Well, computers used to be as big as buildings, right? So things evolve.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's definitely a niche thing. It's not
Yeah.
not for everybody, but I think it's something pretty cool. And like I said before, it's kind of the whole reason why the Roto Boss was built with lead screws to begin with.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of the end goal, but
I'll get it out there and I'll play with it. I promise.
you got any questions, just let me know. All the stuff should be on the USB. What were you saying, Brian, about rotaries?
I know there's a video, and that's helping, I think, but I need to incorporate it maybe in an article or something. There's some of the people, and I'm sure you probably have a sticker or something. I don't know, but you know how that goes. Saying that their
The Nova
Rotoboss,
24?
won't fit in the 24. Yeah, we might need a new sticker.
There's a bag with a big old sticker on it and a QR code to take you to the video. I mean,
I got
and
you.
it's in the instruction manual that nobody reads.
I need to pull that out of the instruction manual and put it in ours in that one. And I still haven't gotten a chance to go through yours, and do what we were talking about with it. I'll get around to that one of these days, maybe.
I got a linkable table of contents and stuff, because that was one thing people wanted, to where it can quickly jump to topic or whatever.
Right.
So I mean, I made some changes to it, but there's more stuff coming as we get videos and stuff. Now that we're completely caught up with all the back orders and stuff, now we'll
Nice.
have a little bit more time to sit down and dedicate and do some good videos on stuff.
Awesome. All right. So that's good about the back orders. I didn't know. I hadn't heard anything about that in a while, though, because that's kind of outside of my wheelhouse now. But
yeah, we're to the point now where we're building inventory, so we're all cut up with all the back orders.
all right. Well, we'll try to get you some more then.
Now things are shipping out, within a day or two of when they're put on the tracker. So
yeah. And that's good because for the, I know I keep talking about it, but for the first time ever, we're putting out machines in a couple of weeks instead of months.
Yep.
So that'll be good to keep a supply. So,
Oh yeah.
all right. So the topic, does anybody have anything that they want to talk about? You want to talk about air assist?
Tommy must have drove like a maniac because he said he wasn't going to be on because he was too far away from home.
Printing additional.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's actually not that bad since I got it reduced down.
Yeah.
It takes it down to.
There we go.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Yeah, listen to the trade secrets.
Oh, you want to hear it? All right.
Listen to Travis get yelled at for being on here.
When I was doing IT, I'd work for judges and lawyers' offices and sheriff's departments. And they had separate networks for NCIC and all that kind of stuff. So I got used to not remembering and trying to redact anything I can in my brain. So that's just the way I'm programmed. So he did the hard mute on it. Look.
Yeah, I know.
Cut the cord.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Anyway, well, if anybody's got anything, see, I said I was going to do a better job of the content on this, and I just feel like I failed this one. The air assist topic just it's just not going to work. We talk about air assist. We can talk about it if you want to.
Well, it's never. You keep saying that, and we were 27 minutes in, and we haven't went to compressors yet.
All right, let's talk about compressors.
I've had 3 different types.
Okay.
Travis would be a good one because he's had multiples and has multiples.
Yeah.
DeWalt had Husky. I've got a large 2-phase one now because I have my plasma cutter, so I need that, and that still runs the lasers as well.
Yeah. So I've got the Cali Air, and I got it just because that's what gets thrown around, and we know it's not continuous duty by any means. I think it says 90 minutes. Actually, you need to run it, and then you got to let it cool off a while. I ran mine for an hour and a half on an engrave one time and watched it with the thermal camera, and that head got so hot, and the condensate was just pouring out of there, man. It was insane. And it took it about an hour and a half before it finally died. And I let it sit, and of course everything kind of cooled off, and it did come back to life. For me, that's a perfect compressor, though. I still have that one on my Odin 22 that's off-site. Still works fine, but I bought a new one as a backup anyway. So I hooked it up to my Nova 35. It's running the Nova and the Odin and soon the Aurora because I think I'm going to add air assist to that fiber and play around with that and see how that affects depth if I can ever get around to it. So
that's just more power.
Yeah. So
Slower speed, more power.
For somebody that kicks their laser on and burns stuff a couple hours a day and is hobbyist, or maybe you're more of a bespoke kind of thing where you do rapid prototyping or customize things, maybe that would be fine. If you're in an environment where you need to put out so many products, every couple of hours to meet these orders that are waiting on you, I don't know that I would get one of those. The Cobalt Quiet Tech, I think, is one of those that people talk about a lot that is supposedly a step up from the Cali Air. Who's got any info on that one? Or
I've got a Quiet Tech 26, and I've also got a Quiet Tech 8.8, the dual cylinder stacked.
Yeah.
Little portable one. They're really good. I've run one for about 6 hours on a big cut job on a larger laser, and I mean it works fine. It gets ridiculous, but I mean as long as you have a system in place, and like you got Harbor Freight, you got Northern Tool, they've got some good for about, it's like a 22 CFM. The refrigerated air chiller for about $500. Or air dryer. The refrigerated air dryer. Yeah. And I haven't used one of those. I got a bigger one. Mine's like 50 CFM, but I mean it works great. I haven't had a drop of air or a drop of water come out on anything. Plus, I have a couple a pre-stage and a post-stage coalescing air dryer, the
Hmm.
cylinders. So, but I mean, that's the best insurance I think anybody could get for any kind of compressor, really.
Yeah.
But
And,
you know,
and I guess if you got a big shop, you'd want like something, a screwdriver, and I think Travis just put something, one of these Craftsman, that looks like it's an actual lubricated pump.
It is. And so I didn't realize this at first. And I still run, I've got 4 California Airs, and the 3 of them are in those soundproof cabinets.
Oh, those are
Uh,
like the medical grade. Those are a little higher grade than the
yeah,
8010s anyway. Yeah.
yep. And those ones are continuous duty, but they're only continuous duty for a max of 8 hours a day. For most of us, that's going to be fine. But if you are going to be running it all the time, I'd actually recommend going to an oil bath system. And what I didn't realize is when you go to an oil bath, even though the decimal rating isn't as low as your quiet airs, it's a different tone. It's a much deeper tone, so you can still talk over it just fine. So yes, they're loud, but it's not obnoxious because it's not that really high pitch. The pistons are completely different. They've got belts, built-in fans, all this, and they are rated to run, and run their butts off. Just keep an eye on your oil level. So yeah, the oil baths, basically the California Air tools and the Cobalt quiets and all that stuff are great if you're occasionally using your laser for like an hour here, hour there, whatever. If you're going to start running it, 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a day, whatever, then look at upgrading to an oil bath. And right now we're actually looking, because we've got 5 lasers plus a woodworking shop, everything else. And so we're looking at getting rid of all of our air compressors and going to a single screw drive system.
Yeah.
Which, definitely, but the price tag on those, they start at 6,000 and go up from there. So
Yeah.
it's definitely an investment. So that's definitely not going to be for everyone. But I think this is for the people that are running it a lot, these Craftsman ones ours has been running rock solid for the last year and a half, and we have not had a single problem with it. I've changed the oil out once a year just as a preventative measure. They don't tell you have to, but I figured it couldn't hurt. I mean, it's just like a car. You should probably change oil every now and again.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a really good unit. And like I said, they are really not, even though the decimal rating is high on it, it's not annoying, and you can still just talk over it without a problem.
Right. Yeah. I've been around some of those, like older ones are usually that way, and they're more like
Yeah, exactly.
It's
They're
kinda
about
weird.
that same tone too, actually.
Yeah. Anyway, Tommy and Lois asked what air dryer that you have or recommend.
So I'm getting ready to stab in because my big California Air Tools compressor's been down. I've got 1 cylinder that needs to be rebuilt and one motor that's fully seized. So I'm actually thinking about ripping off that air dryer system on that. That's a refrigerated air dryer, and run that on my Craftsman. But for right now, I'm just running those wall mount ones, the 3 individual section ones, and then a little side tube for that goes in a air sprayer for painters and stuff. So that's all I'm running on mine right now. But I also have about 100 foot of hose between my air compressor and my squid valve to branch off all my airlines. But if you're looking to do something permanent, honestly, what I would recommend doing is spend the money, get some copper tubing, and do true drip legs. Run about, huh?
We've already run drip legs for where our setup is. It's not working. And when she put in air dryer, I think our next purchase is one of these at a minimum an Ingersoll Rand refrigerated.
So if you have a Harbor Freight close to you, unfortunately we don't have one up here, but I had my buddy check for me down in Seattle. They have Harbor Freight makes Ingersoll Rand air dryer knockoff that is supposed to be really good. I mean, it's supposed to work just about as good as the Ingersoll Rand, but it's a quarter of the price.
Is that the one they talk about on the Laser Lounge? Isn't that the one that
Yeah.
Alicia was talking about?
Yeah, that's one they talk about on there, but
Is it
it's only
this
like
one?
I want to say it's like $500-600 or something like that.
The freight one's about 500. This Ingersoll
Yeah.
Rand is what our 60 cubic foot or our air compressor puts out about 11 and a half psi or 11 and a half cubic feet per minute at 90 psi, and this Ingersoll Rand's rated for 11, which we're not running it full up all the time, so it should be efficient enough. I don't want to say you get what you pay for, but sometimes Central Pneumatic has some decent stuff for inexpensive, and other times right out of the box it doesn't work.
Yep.
The thing is, you're also you're not pulling 90 psi out of that compressor if you're only using it for your lasers. So you're not working that thing to its max. I mean, your max you're going to be pulling 40, 50.
Yeah.
What is it, 50 or 55 according to y'all,
Yeah,
Brian?
55.
Yeah, because I know we looked at doing an Ingersoll Rand air compressor and dryer combo, and the dryer alone they quoted us was like 42 or 4,500 bucks just for the dryer.
This one's under 1,000.
Huh?
This one's under $1,000.
Oh yeah, go for it then.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why it's hard when people start talking price. I'm like, I'm in Alaska. My pricing's way different than anybody.
Yeah. The screw drives don't cause condensation, do they? Or it's very minimal?
It's very minimal, and most of them have pre-air dryers in them where it dries the air before it goes in there, and also preheats the air, so it doesn't have that issue as much. So they're, and then a lot of them have like the auto drains and all that stuff on them. So what was the brand of one we were looking at? I think it was Emax is the screwdriver we were looking at. Is that right?
Yeah, they're high for sure.
Yeah.
George said he's going to his first wine festival. You can jump in if you want to, George, or I can just do this. The leatherette wine bags from JDS. Has anybody done that? I'm pretty sure. There's George.
There it is. But you see, I'm starting to lose some detail up in here. I'm going to try slowing the laser down just a little bit and barely bumping up the power. But I'm also noticing you got a little bit of what I call that soot blowback.
Mm-hmm.
Like right around the edges of the eye.
Yeah.
Quite say it. I tried wiping it off, tried cleaning it. I'm afraid to use Totally Awesome because I think it might get down into the grooves and start taking out the engraving.
Mm-hmm. What wattage is your machine?
100 watt.
Okay. You ought to be able to dial that in. He's pretty easy on that stuff. That JDS, I think the leather's pretty much the same, that they make it out of. I don't think there's a different composition. I haven't tried that color. I know the colors make a difference. But it takes very, very, very little power to get through that stuff. I always burn all the way through, because there's another color underneath. I always burn through that part and then mess it up.
So I did the cork. The cork is actually a different material.
Okay.
They came out great. I repackaged it.
Oh yeah.
They came out, and that's cork. And usually cork's a nightmare, but for some reason their cork is very good.
Huh. I've never engraved on that material that those other ones are, so I'm not real well versed on that. Chris has probably played with some of that faux leather. I mean, CeeLo. I gotta remember that.
I hate it. I hate all of the JDS leatherettes. I can't stand.
Yeah,
especially the silver underlining ones. Man.
Oh, screw those ones.
Let's do them on a fiber.
No, they do come out good on a fiber.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to do leatherette and have a really good enjoy doing it, use Johnson's Plastics. Their leatherette is it's about the same price, but it's way better than JDS's.
Do they have the
So,
same things? Because like those cake pans that JDS has, no one has those. The ones with the lids, no one. I haven't found those anywhere.
yeah,
So
they carry a lot of the same core stuff, but then from there they both completely split and go different directions.
Yeah, like you
So
can.
like with the Johnson's Plastics, we do a lot of their leatherette wine or alcohol flasks.
And they have really cool uninsulated, I don't know, little glasses. They're really nice. They're cheap. They're a good alternative for events and stuff, as opposed to getting the insulated stainless steel glasses.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Thanks, Brian. I know the website though.
Yeah, no, you had sent something for some reason it said to private. I was just going to put the link to Johnson Plastics up there for people
Yep.
that didn't
And
know.
honestly,
That was already new.
we used to be diehard JDS supporters, but during COVID, our promotional line that we do pretty much took a dive, and so we didn't hit our $10,000 minimum. And then they wanted to argue with me over giving me my normal rates again. I'm like, really, dude? It's COVID. So we quit using them and started pushing everything over to Johnson's. And honestly, the quality of their stuff, I think, is quite a bit better than most of the JDS stuff. The only thing that you can't get through Johnson's is Polar Camel, so we still have to get that through JDS. So, and Brian, for anyone who's interested in a Screwdrive Air Compressor, this is the one that I put a link in there. That's one that we're looking at, but they're like $12,000-$13,000 for that one. So, but that's a big unit. I think it's a 120-gallon tank on that thing.
Yeah.
Most people's not going to use it on a normal
No,
phase
no.
or have
I
the
mean,
room for it.
Most people aren't going to have three phase.
If you've got, if you have
Yeah,
other
there's
stuff
that
going
too.
on, like if you're doing a full-on wood shop and all that kind of stuff, then you might look at a Screwdrive. But if you're just running a few lasers, each day, oil bath air compressor is the way to go.
I'll tell you,
I think.
they basically the one that he showed, the Craftsman. I've got a Cobalt 30-gallon, not the Quiet. This is predating all that stuff, but it's more along the lines of that Craftsman one. We used it, one just like the one I've got now, in our finish shop when I was out in Dayton. We ran the finish shop for almost a year because we was waiting on parts for the Ingersoll. And that little thing ran the spray booth and DA sanders. Now, granted, DA sanders, when you had two of them, was really pushing the lines of it. But the one I've got here, I've had it for 8 years. It's ran my paint booth. It's ran my DA sanders. Now I'm on electric sanders, but it runs the laser zero problems. And you want to talk about a compressor getting abused? Try running a DA sander off a compressor. You will annihilate everything about that compressor, and if it's going to break, it's going to break on a DA.
What do you think took out my 4-horse quiet air California Air Tools one?
Yeah, DA sanders.
DA sander took it out.
But I have ran that thing as long as you keep the water out of it and keep the oil changed on it, and make sure your oil levels are good. They are little workhorses, and I don't know if they even sell them anymore or not. But it was a Cobalt 30, but it looks very similar to that Craftsman 30.
Honestly, they're probably even made by the same company.
Probably. The only difference is between that and the one you've got, the motor and the compressors flipped on opposite sides.
Yeah, I think it's funny because that Craftsman pancake compressor is identical to the Porter Cable one,
which is
just like it, same machine. And then I noticed in that ad for that oil bath one a minute ago, it said this one's 10% more powerful than the Porter Cable one, and I'm like, I bet they're the same thing.
Yep. All they did is they made the piston, 10% bigger or something like that, But yeah, I mean, honestly, when you're buying them from Lowe's or Home Depot, really it's which one's going to have the better deal. Like right now, I know that compressor showing $6.99. I think I got mine on sale for like $5.29 or something like that. So just watch your sales. Black Friday is going to be coming up in it's coming up in a few months. I can guarantee you, Home Depot or Lowe's, someone will have an oil bath air compressor on sale.
They'll start running Black Friday starting next month until the end of the year.
Yeah,
and who knows? Y'all bring up the box stores, Home Depot and Lowe's. Don't forget, if you've got Tractor Supplies or Rural Kings or any of those, we've got the Porter cable, 60 gallon. Granted, it's 220. It's not nowhere near as loud as a 110, but that's what, 600 or 700 for a 60 gallon. And it used to run my power hammer when I was making knives. So there is no issues with that producing enough air.
Yeah,
which
they sell
honestly,
Ingersoll too and all those as well at Tractor Supply.
yeah, which
TSC.
honestly, if you've got the electrical to run a 220 air compressor, they're way more efficient than the 110s.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's people that are running these 110s, you've got to have a dedicated 20 amp outlet. Well, then you go to a 220 that needs a 20 amp outlet, and you're actually drawing like 10 amps off of each leg. And so, your efficiency is far increased, and it's going to be a lot cheaper to run overall.
Awesome.
Well, there, we ate
yeah.
15 minutes up for you for your compressor.
And it was on topic, baby.
I
Yeah,
know.
So,
quick, someone else say something else
Simo
about
said he had to
behind
go,
them.
so he'll catch us next week.
So how about the Mariners? No.
Well, I do have a quick question for Chris, if I may.
Absolutely.
Left.
What's my timeline looking like?
The part should be here now, late July. So again, the 35 is the first one on my list.
Okay, our little one goes away Monday.
Okay, so you'll be itching.
Already are.
Okay.
I just really
It's
hope
like,
you get an order for something that I need to use the lower power for. I will be kind of screwed. So yeah. Well,
Okay.
we know people that I guess I could go use somebody else's laser. So it's not that big a deal.
Yep. Yeah, as soon as I get the parts, I'm gonna uncrate them, start buttoning up that 35.
Thank you.
Like I said, I've already got it, rough aligned. It's just needs the parts. It'll run in my garage right now. Just don't look at it. You know what I mean? It's
I don't
completely
give a damn
uncovered.
what it looks like. I just need it to work.
Yeah.
Is it a little naked right now?
Yeah, she's got basically the top removed.
Hey, she's topless.
Yeah.
Lois, don't forget that if you do need a little bit lower power in the meantime, just drop your 4-inch head on and that'll drop your power in half on that laser. You won't get quite as fine a detail out of it, but for like tumblers and stuff, it'll work great because you have to defocus anyways to get a little bit bigger spot size. But yeah, they'll definitely cut your power in half, and so you can still be operational.
Yeah. Sweet. Hey, you want to talk about fiber lasers for a minute?
Yeah, sure. Where can I get a bigger table?
Oh, you talking about the stuff that's with the pre-drilled? What is that stuff called?
Yeah. And everyone just calls it split marking tables. That's all I've been able to find, but I'm trying to find one that's a little bit bigger.
Why don't you just make one?
George has wants to talk about fiber, I think. So we'll do what we can to help with that. I'm kind of new to it. So I've had that thing a year. It showed up in my Facebook thing, because I took a picture when it showed up. I've had this thing a year. I might have 2 hours on it, maybe. I got to get back in there. Anyway,
do I need to come just pick it up from you so it can be used?
I've said that 3 or 4 times, and he won't let me do it.
No, I'm going to start using these things. I'm really close. I'm really, really close. I know I've been saying that for a year and a half.
It's like me and my CNC. I'm almost done building it now.
Right. Exactly.
The only thing is he can't find it any longer because it's covered in.
Yeah. Oh, shut up, Jim.
So what you got, George? What are you thinking about on the fibers?
So I want to start getting more into metal.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And then for doing like little one-offs, the fiber just seems like it's so much faster. So as far as like cutting down, not production time, but if somebody wants just 1 or 2 one-offs, I think it might be more advantageous to use it for certain occasions, and then obviously for marking metal.
Yeah. So I haven't really ever looked into the different things that it can do. I mean, I know as far as different materials it can ablate and that kind of thing, but with the cylinder correction, being able to do a tumbler without a rotary, depending on the graphic, and is super. And something that I never really thought about before, and it would be perfect for anybody that does promotional items, USB drives, that kind of thing. But I keep forgetting about the composites, the plastics. You can get good contrast markings on a variety of different colors and types of plastics and things beyond just PMags, beyond getting gray and tan and white on or black on a PMag. I mean, there's a lot more to it. And so, yeah, there's a huge world out there in that. There you go. Chris has got some. What is that on PLA?
No, it's PETG. So
Okay.
PETG, that's black PETG, and then it marks kind of a whitish silverish color.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question on fibers, and it might be for Travis more, but anybody, I don't give a. How long would it take the fiber to relief out a millimeter of steel?
What kind of steel? Mild steel?
Yes.
I mean, it depends on how big it is, but to give you an idea, so when I do my coins, I go right about a millimeter deep at my deep spots, and they take about 25, 30 minutes per coin per side.
Okay,
So,
and so that's a 2-inch circle.
yeah, thereabouts.
Okay,
And
so
how much of it is that deep? Does that matter if only 50% of it is that deep? Because you may have some areas that aren't deep at all. That may affect that. But if you had to put a kind of like,
just, I mean,
kind of
you're
like on a
still scanning
page,
the
you can
full
think
vista.
about how much ink is on it, according, for determining. Would you say 50%, or would you?
I don't think it really matters because you're still scanning the entire coin regardless.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, so I mean,
you're already at that finite speed. You're at that set speed when you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think it'll really matter that much, at least not that I've noticed.
So we would say,
if you go with a 50 watt, I think you'd be way better off if you're going to be doing metal, or even maybe go to a 60. I've just got a 30, and so definitely if you go to a 50 or 60, you're going to be cutting that time down because you can take deeper bites of it.
So something, say the size of 4 inches by 6 inches to relief out would take a few hours then running.
Yeah, so like to give you an idea, when people are doing like 1911 gun slides or Glock gun slides, it's taken them like an hour to an hour and a half per side of the gun to do those slides. I mean, I know they look really fast because they speed up their videos, but yeah, it's actually taken an hour and a half. I mean, they aren't super fast at it, but they do amazing, great detailed work. So let me actually pull this off.
Yeah.
No, that's literally what I needed to know is, and I know y'all have gotten emails, and I wish Chris was still on here because I guess he's got an email from a buddy of mine. He's supposed to send him samples of the steel to try before he drops the money for the Aurora.
Okay.
Trying to figure out if that's what it's going to be or what he needs, and
Back
that's
up
what
a little.
Well, these cameras have a horrible time trying to focus. Jim's got the same one. He has the same problem I do sometimes. But anyways, here, let me measure this. So I have text on this tumbler that I was playing with, and let's see. So my text is 0.75 millimeters tall for the text. And it came out absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
So, George, were you looking at anything like, did you want MOPA? Because there's you can always go into that, and then you can start making stainless look like different colors also. So that's a possibility.
Yeah, so you've got 3 primary sources. You got your Raycus, which is just basically doing, your standard silvers and blacks on stainless. Then you go into your JPTs. Your JPTs from the range of, I'd say probably about 150 hertz up to 600 hertz are your color ranges. So like that's what I have as a JPT. I can hit, my silvers and my blacks. I can also hit bronze, gold, some blues, a couple pinks, and that's about it on mine. But then when you go into the MOPAs, then you can hit your bright blues, bright yellows, all that kind of stuff. So it really depends if you want to do color on stainless steel or not, is what it
Well,
comes down to.
and some people choose MOPA for exactly what you said, is getting that dark black on, what was it that you can't really get it on with a tradition, with a fiber source.
Yeah.
Was it aluminum, or was it this? No, you can't get that on there anyway. Or was it the steel, the dark black?
So on my JPT, I can hit like black with my JPT. And I'd be willing to bet you probably could on a Rakis as well, because I'm down in hold on, I gotta pull up my little cheat sheet here.
Brian,
George,
what's y'all's MOPA?
What's that?
Y'all's a MOPA?
I'm sorry?
JPT or MOPA for y'all's?
Or MOPA is a JPT. Non-MOPAs are Rakis.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But isn't the higher wattage Thunder one JPT/MOPA?
No.
No, the 20 watt MOPA.
No, I said the higher wattage, the 50.
It's a 50 watt non-MOPA. It's a Pro, right? I believe, but not a MOPA.
Yeah, it's still I think it's still a Rakis source.
I thought it was somewhere that I'd seen that it was a MOPA.
We have three. We have the Aurora 820, which is the base. It's got a Rakis source in it, a 20 watt Rakis fiber source in it. And then we've got the Aurora 850 Pro, which is a 50 watt, and I think it's a Rakis source also, isn't it? I don't know. It's got the Pro, so it's going to run EasyCAD 3. It's got the 3D board in it. And then you have the Aurora 820 MOPA Pro, which is a JPT source. And it's also the EasyCAD 3, the 3D board.
Yeah, so the only thing with that is watch out, because you won't be able to run Lightburn on that one yet.
The Pros, you can't run Lightburn on it yet. Right, that is
well,
soon.
You can, if you want to do a whole lot of work.
Out of the box. But yeah, so when I'm doing stainless steel, I had to look up my cheat sheet here. To get my dark black, I'm only at a frequency of 25. So, Rakis, all that, you'll be able to hit just fine. So I'd be willing to bet it's probably something else you're thinking of. When we get into titanium, I'm up at 190. So I know, like, when we're doing titanium business cards and stuff, I'm running at 190. And let's see what else. And
I don't. I have that list. I subscribed to. I paid to join that fiber, whatever, that laser everything thing, and I downloaded their files. So I cheat.
If you haven't yet, he just recently released an entire series, and he's releasing more every day on Lightburn or Galvo Lightburn.
Libraries that are already Lightburn libraries, that no conversion, or I thought they were using that conversion program from David.
Well, yeah, they are that, but I mean, he's actually running like tutorial videos on YouTube. Anyone can get to those. You don't have to subscribe for those.
The crash course. I have a page on our article that has them all listed, but I quit after about 13 because I don't have time to stop every 5 minutes and put his new video in that page.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, anyone who's got a fiber that wants to learn using Lightburn on it, I mean, I was a beta tester on it, and I'm still learning stuff. Watching his videos, I'm still learning stuff on it. It's been really good.
I've got him here. I started it.
Awesome. I think he's on 18 right now or something like that.
I stopped at 9.
You should just put a link to his channel.
Yeah, well, when they go to the first one, it'll go to the playlist. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's the JPT is definitely kind of fun, because we've been taking we use these grinders, these herb grinders, and we laser engrave companies' logos on the top, and we're actually able to turn it. We can go white, bronze, black, whatever, right on the lid of them, and everyone's just absolutely loving them up here. So, and they don't take long. They take like,
herb grinders, huh?
They're herb grinders. Some oregano and but